All right, today we're talking about the FERS deferred retirement option. I'm talking about a FERS deferred pension in this circumstance. And I think this is timely. There's a lot going on right now. The new administration just came in. They're making a lot of noise, handing out executive orders. They've passed along the return to office mandate. So there's a lot of uncertainty right now for federal employees about what the future might hold. And of course, this is part of a bigger plan to reduce the workforce. They want to make people feel uncomfortable. They want to make them weigh their options. So they think about, potentially leaving their federal career so they can meet, whatever the goals are that have been set. So we always get the question, regardless of this type of circumstance, what happens to my federal benefits if I do decide to leave early to do something else, or if I just want to retire maybe a little bit earlier than I'd anticipate if I go out before my MRA? And it works like this. There is some confusion around it, so I want to keep this simple and straightforward. You can still be eligible for a FERS pension in the future by deferring it if you meet certain criteria. So you have to have at least 5 years of service in the system, and you have to leave your deductions or your contributions that you've made in the system, because they'll give you the option to take a lump sum payout. So if you leave the money in, you've got at least 5 years, you can be eligible for a pension at age 62. Now, you can also be eligible as early as your minimum retirement age if you have 10 years of service in the system. So if you leave and you've got 10 years, you can pick this annuity back up when you hit your minimum retirement age. Now that comes with a reduction. It's considered taking your annuity early. It's 5% for every year under the age of 62. So in this case, if you picked it up, it's 57, there'd be a 25% reduction. Now, there's a couple workarounds here, all right? So if you go out and you have 20 years of service, you can pick up your annuity as early as age 60 with no reduction. And of course, if you have 30 years of service when you go out, so maybe if you're 53 and you've got 30 years of service, you can pick your annuity back up at 57 with no reduction. Okay, so MRA and 30, 60 and 20, 62 and 5, those things still ring true in this circumstance. Okay, now, so that's what happens to the FERS pension. Of course, your TSP, you have the option to do whatever you want with that. You never lose your benefits. You're completely vested with that thing. So roll it into an IRA, leave it at the TSP, not being an active employee. You do lose your ability to continue with your insurance benefits. So FEHB and FEGLI, those would go away. You wouldn't have the opportunity to continue those. Okay, so if that's important to you, that's a big consideration to think about those health benefits. Probably not as much on the FEGLI side of things, but FEHB is something that you need to plan for. And lastly, you would not be eligible for the special retirement supplement. So the SRS, that kicks in between 57 and 62, not eligible under the deferred retirement option. Okay, so those are some of the rules behind what's going to happen if you do go out early. Now, what does your benefit look like in these circumstances? That's important to know as well. And essentially what happens is your benefits are frozen in time from the point you leave your federal career. So your years of service, your multiplier, and your high 3, all those things are they'll be frozen at that point in time. Whatever your annuity calculation is right now, when you leave, that's what it's going to be when you pick your annuity back up in the future. So there wouldn't be any increases to those numbers in the future, okay? That's kind of what we're looking at here. Now, how to think through this is a big decision point, of course, leaving your career to do something different. And I know it's not all about the numbers, so we can't just base this decision point on what the financial situation looks like, but you do need to think about a couple of key things. It's what are you leaving to? What are you retiring to? So do you have another opportunity? What's that situation going to look like? What does your current financial situation look like? So have you built enough assets to generate the type of retirement income that you need to sustain your needs, your income needs in the future, right? Or is there still more heavy lifting to do? You got to run those numbers and see exactly where you stand, how far along you are on that journey towards generating the retirement income you need. That's really important. If you're not quite where you need to be and you still need to do some work there, then you consider staying in your federal career or finding another job that's going to pay you enough to kind of match those benefits that you're going to be giving up, right? Because I don't think here is the proper place to give you a FERS annuity illustration on the opportunity cost. We know there's an opportunity cost. It could be hundreds of thousands of dollars, it could be millions of dollars. It just depends where you're at in your career and what you're giving up. You'd have to think about, can you replace those with employment somewhere else, your ability to save and invest well? Or are you in a position where you don't need those additional benefits and you've already found your version of how much is enough? Okay, that's important to think about. So we're kind of trying to work through it because this is an emotional decision. The numbers are more logical, more practical. You got to put those two things together and come to whatever the right decision point is for you. So a lot to think about in these circumstances. Just wanted to give you some straightforward information so you know exactly how it works. So if you found this helpful, would appreciate you give us a like and a share, and we'll see you next time.